Leave them people alone. That's not
Good. We'll call the Shadeland Planning Committee meeting to order for June 23rd, 2026. First thing on the agenda is approval of minutes from last meeting, May 7th, 2026.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions? No questions. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's approved. The first thing on the agenda is area plan discussion. I had conversation with the area plan director about Shadeland joining the how the process would be for Shadeland to join APC, and he said we would have to do some sort of a kind of a letter of interest or something to kind of start the process. But Stu, you might know more about that, or eventually we would have to have some sort of a MOU for them to kind of take over. But to start with, he thought there'd be like some sort of letter of interest to investigate, being part of that.
At some point, if it were to go forward, I think there'd have to be some kind of interlocal agreement that sets out and adopted by the town of Shadeland and the county. It says, here's our understanding, and here's how it's worked, and here's what costs and fees are involved, and blah, blah, blah. So that would be the end result.
Yeah. And and that came up before, and one of the things that I discussed was that I think that Shadeland wouldn't really have any interest in being part of the planning commission if it didn't have a voice. So if, in other words, it didn't have somebody that could sit at the table with that group. And previously, when we talked to them, that we were told that we wouldn't have anybody on the council, but the new director said he thought we could have somebody on the committee or on the commission.
A voting member or
a voting member. Yeah. So, but that's, again, I think there's probably that's kind of the stuff that we have to kind of investigate. And cost-wise, there wasn't any cost because basically it's already paid for. So that's just kind of this thought, and I just want to bring it up because I would like to be part of the area plan just because we're part of the community. We're the only one that's not part of area plan. Our zoning maps are way outdated. That could all be updated. They're 20 years old?
96.
Part of it's 97, part of it's 91. Yeah.
So 30 years old, almost 30 years old. Some of them are over 30. So that's, and I'm not saying that any of the zoning would have to change, but my guess is that our maps are not accurate to what some of the zoning cases we've had going through here. So I just wanted to open it up for discussion with this committee of whether we go back to the council and what direction we would go. I just want to get everybody's opinion. Josh, you kind of put an email together, kind of, express your concerns about costs and.
Well, I think that keeping it is better, but I put my opinion in the email, which I'm happy to state here too. But I also don't think it's fair that they're pushing everything to you, or the council as a whole to one council member to try to sort through things.
Right.
So I think that was a problem that has to be solved. I think that the county, the Beacon administrator would be willing to update our zoning stuff if we had the stuff to give them without joining. I think they would take that info and put it into their stuff, which I don't see any issues with. I agree with you that the maps are probably not accurate. I think you'd have to go through everything from 97 to now.
Any minutes, yeah.
And see what rezones were done, or somebody would, and then before you gave them information to input into GIS.
When this was discussed earlier, I guess I recall being told by whoever was here that it ultimately would still stay with the council. a
Decisions.
final decision.
Yes, that's correct. The staff, the area plan staff would just make recommendations to us if somebody wanted to rezone, and then we would say yes or no. If they said recommend denial, we could still say, yes, we're going to rezone it. Or we could accept what they said and deny somebody's rezone. It still has to come back to the council.
Is that the same for parcelizations?
I have a
Yeah.
little different
Yeah,
recollection
I
of
believe
that.
so.
Okay.
He was a little vague on that. I think I was one of the ones that questioned it, and I didn't think we got a good answer that we would have a final say. It was kind of a,
Well, like, if you would have final say on a rezone, because if it's currently ag and somebody comes in and says, hey, we want to go to R3. Well, first of all, they're not even going to do R3 because there's no utilities. Right now, Tippecanoe County doesn't do anything if you don't have water and sewer. So, and Shadeland doesn't have water and sewer except in Raineyville. So, so then automatically it goes to another stage. So, but if somebody came through and said, hey, we want to go from, we just had a recent we had a request for a rezone from ag to, was it commercial or something, or industrial? What was it?
Is that the tree farm?
Industrial, you want to go like
Yeah.
industrial.
So you wanted to go like
Chestnut
industrial.
trees.
It had to, I mean, area plan would take that case, they would look at it, and they would go through all the history of the property. They would do a big, 2 or 3 page report and say, recommend denial based on, they would probably recommend denial. And then it would come to us, and then we could say, okay, we're going to vote on this. They don't get it. I mean, area plan can't change our zoning. They can recommend or, from that standpoint. Even in Tippecanoe County, area plan doesn't do it. It's the commissioners who make that final say. So any recommendation from area plan goes to the commissioners. It goes through Lafayette or goes through West Lafayette. I think those are the only ones that, I mean, I'm sure Battleground probably has the same way, and Dayton probably has the same thing too. So any community has the ability to say no at that final stage. But yeah, that's for sure. And that's across state of Indiana, that's the case. So I don't think that's the problem. I think there was something you had a question on about, okay, so if somebody was already zoned, like we do have some R3 here somewhere, right?
Not very much, but we have a little.
We do have some R3. So if somebody came in and said they wanted to put apartments in an R3 and we didn't want them, it's too late. It's already R3. I mean, that we can't tell them they can't build that if it's already zoned that. So, or if somebody wanted to do an ag use on an ag use, we can't say you can't do that because it's as long as it met the criteria.
Well, it would appear to me that if you don't want to go with area plan, the town needs to invest in its own
Yes.
infrastructure, so to speak, and look to hire somebody part-time to do those kind of things. Maybe they could have other duties and all that.
Right.
But I think you about gotta invest in your infrastructure to have somebody do that for you along with whatever else.
And I think that
you want
goes
to
along with the
delegate.
code, that we have. I feel like that code is, I mean, we can certainly clean it up and probably fix a lot of the issues. What do we have, about 2 pages, 3 pages of issues?
Like 36 things, and I was just strictly looking for things that conflict.
That conflict, but there could be some other things in there that we could fix those, but I don't feel like it really is in line with maybe everything maybe what everybody wants to do. So I think it's going to be a procedure no matter what, whether we're doing it ourselves and doing our own code, updating our code, it's going to cost us some time and effort to do that. And if we do it
Don't
with,
forget money.
and money, yeah, money's probably going to be the higher end if we do it ourselves. If we go through APC, I feel like it's going to be time, and then we get to kind of pick and choose what we want to do and don't do. But I don't know if there's going to be the code's already there, so we could certainly say, no, we don't even want certain types of industrial maybe, or certain types of uses in Shadeland at all. So we could say that. But again, a lot of it's going to be limited to the fact that we don't have water and sewer here currently. And I don't see that happening anytime soon unless somebody else knows something.
I mean, the updates on 500 are capable of coming over here some. I mean, it's right there.
Which one's that?
The Arbor neighborhood is capable of coming to Shadeland.
Yes, there is additional, yes, that sewer line so we plan for that to actually go to the rest of Rainybrook Bay. It would it wouldn't go past the railroad tracks. The utility can't go, there's not enough capacity for that system to go past the railroad tracks. But it would pick up all the stuff on the west side of the lake. So that's possible. But yes, that capacity was built into that lift station. I don't know if I suppose the area on 400 could also, that could get.
Yeah, it's already there. It would just probably take an upgrade.
Right. So those are things that, and again, we did all Rainybrook with, there's not anything in the code for us to do Rainybrook, but we did it.
Yeah, but
Right?
you weren't on council at that point, but
I know,
they came
I
in
was
with
sitting out there though.
they came in with documentation that the town agreed to it in the late 80s.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. But again, there's nothing in there to do a subdivision. So, but yet we're doing it. So that's the part that I just don't feel like our documents are thorough enough. I feel like we're just winging it. And that's the part that we're probably safe, but if somebody comes in and really wants to challenge us, I think we're gonna be in trouble. Personally, but I just want everybody's kind of thoughts and like I said, we can go through this whole process with area plan and say we want to do this. We can investigate and decide, no, we don't want to do it. We don't. I want someone to have a seat at the table. That could be a
And the guy that came to talk to Shadeland the years, he's no longer there, right?
No, they ran him
So
out
it's
of
a
town.
new
Yeah,
face.
they ran him out of town. He stepped on way too many toes.
I think what you're referring to, Bob, on the direct question was when we asked about the municipality would always have final on the area plan, but on the appeals board, not necessarily.
That might have been what he got into, some detail about that.
But you could you could do APC and deny the appeals board and make this an appeals board if you wanted, if that was an issue. It's really like however we want to structure it.
So we'd have to have some
Careful
sort
what
of,
you ask for.
Yeah,
so you're saying you'd have to have some sort of board of zoning appeals that we could do or something.
because there's some decisions that are made at appeals that are final. So like in that circumstance, we wouldn't have final say. But you could take this committee and turn it into an appeals board if you wanted to.
And I think that's what he stated, right, that would over. And I kind of always felt the same way Josh did. Until I saw Josh's letter, I wasn't real sure how to verbalize.
Yeah.
Your letter was pretty good. I kind of agree with pretty much everything you said there. I also agree with what you said now, that it shouldn't be dumped on Tim all the time.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we need
yeah,
to
I
do
don't-
something about that.
Yeah, and again, I don't have a problem doing it. It's just that we're not really following any
Right.
format that really makes a whole lot of sense.
And you're not gonna be on the council forever.
That's right, I'm not.
Yeah.
And I will delegate, trust me. Going forward, I will delegate as much as I can. 'Cause
Josh, I
It's a
like
lot of
your
work.
comment about a possible series of town hall meetings, because it would be nice to get some input from the town.
Yeah.
Because the stuff that was made with Kai was 30, 40 years ago. And at that time, it was pretty much hands off. People still feel that way. I suspect they kind of do with the input we've gotten from not allowing one person to build a house on 13 acres. I mean, that was, that kind of stuff's what you get into that's kind
It
of
shouldn't happen.
shouldn't have happened.
That shouldn't have happened.
There's no
That's
reason
exactly
you can't
right.
build a house on 13 acres.
That's
at all.
exactly right. That
That
should
was
not
just-
happen.
That was a different issue that she did it to herself, but that's the kind of stuff we need to fix.
I think that if you have town hall meetings, I think that you'll see more positive for like pocket developments than what we currently allow.
Could be, yeah, especially non-farm ground
Yeah.
type,
Or should
kind of
even
like what Vandergleets are doing with that wooded acreage over there. So, and we probably do need to talk a little bit about town manager, as long as it's not, the only thing I don't like about that is I always hate starting something like that and having a fairly high paying job and then it never goes away. It just keeps, you know what I mean? It'd always be like, it'd be nice to have like a so long contract to see how this goes. And you have an out, so you don't have to, you're always stuck with it. And the fees just keep going up and up and up, and pretty soon you're paying $200,000 for somebody to come
It's
in
not
here.
an elected position. You could always terminate it.
Well,
And I would be in favor of hiring a town manager if we had the reason for growth. Like if we were gonna really try to grow, because Shanelands could grow. There's no question it could grow.
Yeah.
But I don't know that we want to grow, and, we wanted to do a community center that we really never did.
because you need growth to do that.
But we need growth to do it, but we sure got a really nice fire station, out of the deal. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying that, there was kind of a commitment to kind of do both. And we don't have a ton of stuff going on, but if we were to have a ton of stuff, we would definitely need to have somebody who was on the ground here, a lot more than what we have right now. So, Tom's going to retire at some point in time, I'm assuming.
When he's dead.
Yeah, well,
Sometimes.
He has no reason to leave.
so, those are the kind of things that we're going to have to really be thinking about. And
But you could ease into the town manager, have a, very limited part-time role to take, once we determine how much work is there. You don't want to just say this is a 40-hour job, and you don't even have 40 hours of work to do. And I doubt we do.
But you'll need to have somebody who knows what they're doing when it comes to the code.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to be easy to find.
And I'll be the first to say, I don't know the code. Josh, I feel like knows the code better than probably anybody in here. Maybe Stu, I don't know. So,
I've read it.
Josh knows
Like,
about
that's what you can
Yeah.
do.
yeah, so,
You're ahead of everybody else.
I really kind of fall back on what I know, which is the area plans stuff. And so I kind of follow that format, and that's how we did all the subdivisions. We just followed that same format, and it was easy. And I think it was everybody was able to understand the process.
And this is a question for Stu maybe, but I'm always leery about joining the county for anything because of all the past that we've had. And I know a lot of that's changed, it's a lot better now, but you get into something like that and then the state house comes along and says, well, we don't need to have a town of Shadeland anymore if you're already doing this anyway. So would that be, and they're already doing that anyway. They're already trying to look at a way to eliminate some of these townships.
Well, yeah,
I don't want to give them any more reason to do it anymore.
but to base a decision on, what the state legislature might do is probably not.
I'm not saying that's what basically.
Yeah, they may get rid of townships. You guys already know you're unique as far as how you created yourselves and the largest square miles with the smallest population in the state. No utilities kind of thing. So, I don't know that I've heard any discussion about eliminating towns. I've heard of it about consolidating school corporations with certain criteria, and they've been trying to get rid of townships for how long? 15 years.
Decades.
What's going on with Union Township? Is she leaving or what's going on?
You know what? I don't actually know.
If she's giving the money away, is she emptying a bank account or something? I
Kind of looks like it. I don't.
Because I thought I heard somebody make a comment, she's here till 28.
I don't know
I
if.
didn't know what that meant.
Maybe that's when you get elected to that position, right?
It's elected.
Yeah,
So
so
why
I
would she
thought maybe
run?
they
She
were
has to run
eliminating.
again.
They
She's
were
probably gonna
eliminating.
run again in 28.
I thought maybe they were eliminating her or something. That's why I was.
I ain't coming.
It's on the chopping block all the time. But
Yeah. Yeah, I read an article about consolidating 5 of the townships in this county. So I don't know if that means consolidating with another township.
In this county or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you can see like Weah and Union and a couple other ones. that are
Yeah.
Combined.
You know, maybe down, whatever it is down by Wanley and Wayne Township, and just kind of get one big township instead to serve those needs.
But that wouldn't affect the town of Shadeland then. Okay, I was just how that worked. We'll do double duty here with the township and the town. It's in the same, exactly the same square feet, square mile.
Downey's awfully quiet. Is he gonna say anything or not?
Well, the town of Shadeland, I think area plan and the state of Indiana is just kind of working around this. They're not planning on doing any infrastructure our way or any of that. And I think we're a dark hole. I think if we're on area plan, I think that would help us. The other thing is people want trails. I got children out on 300 South and I got traffic out on 300 South at 65 miles per hour plus. So if you want to grow, that's one thing. If you don't want to grow, stay as you are, but update your ordinances, because somebody's going to walk in here and help us. And if you want to keep it farmland, area plan took that into consideration. In the Tippecanoe township, they put a AAA rating on some farms,
Right.
which strengthens the farm zoning. So, that can be done. And I still believe if you're against something that they recommend, you can send it back to them. You, as a council, have the final say. Keep asking that question and you'll probably get the same answer. You have the final say. Every time I was involved in a subdivision and the council didn't like it, it got turned away
Happens all the time.
all the time. In the same way, if you want to cut your 20 acres up into 1 acre lots, if you don't have the proper infrastructure, it's not going to happen. And somebody's not going to come out here and put in a water facility or a sewer facility for 20 acres. It's not going to happen. So be pretty safe there.
Yeah, I think the only way we're gonna be getting utilities would be extended from Lafayette.
And we're duplicating services. And we're paying money for something that we've already got. Let them worry about updating the zoning and stuff so that you can't do what you don't want. It's up to you.
Just a minor question, what would our ordinance updates help solve a 65-mile-an-hour problem on 300? I'm not sure what you meant by that.
Number one, I don't think any speed limit sign that we have in the town of Shadeland is enforceable. You look through there and see if you find any ordinance on speed limits. The county sets speed limits, the county council sets speed limits on their county roads all the time, and they change it from time to time. None of that's happened as long as I've been here.
But the signs are out there.
I think there is something.
There's signs out there, but if you want to contest that,
We don't have any enforcement mechanism. You got to
And that's the other
have
thing.
town marshal.
Yeah, but the county sheriff enforces all of our roads.
and get a hold of one of them, ask them if it's enforceable, if it's not on the books.
I think there is something in the codification about speed
Is there?
limits. I don't remember if it specifies certain roads or a certain speed
It
limit
has
or
to
what.
be specified a certain road from point A to point B
I'll see if I can't find it, but I do remember seeing something.
I always thought that the state itself had any county road that's not signed, has no signage on it, 50 miles an hour. I thought that was
But
just,
these are not county roads. They're town Shaler roads.
okay.
Just
Well,
a thought.
I know the
There was
county
a
does- the
section
county
on,
does that.
on Division Road.
It says if it's not marked, it's 50.
Yeah, I thought we were into that too.
But I don't know that, I mean, like Dave's saying, is it in there? Does it have to be written somewhere or is it unwritten?
Yeah.
Or is it just
and
something?
county police, in my experience, are not real keen on writing a ticket under a town ordinance. Because where does the money go for the ticket? It goes to the town. It doesn't go to the county or any. So that's always been they'll kind of, we're not enforcing.
They do it in Petersburg.
Well, they have town ordinances there and a town marshal.
So this is one of those
County
times
guy
when
got me.
we need to have another member on the planning committee.
Is John still on
You guys-
this committee?
Nope.
I didn't know he quit.
This is one of those times we need another one because now we got two people that want it, two people that don't. So
Well, but your only job, not my job, your only job is to
Go back
make
to
a
council.
recommendation.
Right,
And
So
hey,
what's the recommendation? I need to
the
have a,
recommendation is we couldn't, it was
Be
two
no,
votes,
because
stalemate.
Yeah.
So council, you decide.
And I'm not saying I'm 100% against it, Tim. I'm
I
just saying.
know what you're saying too.
I'm
No,
leery of it.
I do. And I am leery of switching 100% too. So I want to make sure that everybody understands what's going on if we're doing it. And having the town meetings makes a lot of sense because then you get some public feedback,
Yeah.
Which we don't get a lot of.
No,
which we don't.
Why don't we take that as a first step? Let's take a look at, we put it on the agenda for the council to discuss and tell them we don't have a consensus, 100% consensus. We need to discuss it. Maybe take 10 minutes in a council meeting with a possible recommendation of looking into a town hall meeting or two, maybe a couple different town hall meetings, just an hour.
I'd make a
See if anybody even
recommendation.
shows up.
I'd make a recommendation that the first town hall happened before, I mean, maybe we should have some information, but before we decided even we're moving forward, we're gonna attempt to move forward or not, to get more, and see what the town's input is on that. If that subject itself will move
Yeah,
forward.
yeah, just get some feedback. And
Well,
could we,
And what you really want to know is, I mean, I think to say, oh, do you want to go with it, stay
Yeah.
here or go area plan, people are going to go,
They need to understand
what are you talking about?
right,
Most people don't understand. Everybody comes into our meetings and don't really know what they're doing. They're relying on somebody else to do the stuff for them and for us to tell them how to do it. So, I mean, most people are going to be like, you're in the dark on this whole thing.
Yeah,
You know?
that's true.
I mean, the fact that we have, we're part of the MS4 with the county surveyor's office. The building commission is taking care of our building permits now, which is, to me, way better than what we had before. So those are things I think were positive moves. Although I'm not a big fan of having to being forced to be part of the MS4. So
That's what they,
it's expensive.
Stu,
Yeah.
and Stu has a good point. I mean, I think this town hall meeting, I'm just anticipating you're gonna get, it's like doing a survey. The only people that do a survey are the ones that are mad. They're gonna complain. So you're gonna get a couple people that are gonna be on one side or the other and be very vocal about it. Probably will accomplish nothing.
I think if I was gonna survey, I would strategically put the questions as like things that, it's not like, would you like to do this or not? It's more like, how do you feel the approach to this development process is this? And you kind of lay out what happens right now and what happens over here and like get their opinions on stuff like that.
Like growth in general.
Growth in
You
general.
want subdivision, you want to grow, you want speed limit signs on 300 South.
45.
No, I don't want speed limit signs on 300 South. I want bike paths that the children can ride their bikes on and walk on. That's what I want.
But there's there's 4 kids gonna use that for 10 miles of road. I mean, that's a lot of money to spend on, That's a whole little just different discussion, Dave, but,
You gotta start somewhere, Bob.
but if you want bike paths, you're not gonna put them on county or town roads that run 10 miles long. That's just not, that's not very feasible. It's not very, economical for the town.
A couple years ago, there was a makeshift plan to go from 400
Yeah,
to the park to here.
Yeah.
With bike path. And I
I
think
agree with
that the field owner was, not gung ho about it, but they weren't opposed to it.
yeah, if you do it like in this area here, in conjunction with the park, that maybe makes more sense. And this is a different discussion. I mean, I'm just saying, that's a long stretch to put a bike path on for
Well, so,
2 bicycles a month.
I don't know, do I have a motion, I guess, then to,
What do we ask the council feedback on?
I don't know that you need a motion, but
Okay.
if you've got consensus to say, we need some public
feedback?
input, a couple town hall meetings to get public input on
Okay.
what do the residents want Shadeland to be. And didn't we do some kind of survey monkey or some kind of survey
We
not
did,
too long ago?
Three
I don't
years
remember what it
ago.
was for,
We did park activities.
park activities, yeah.
Yeah.
We had I think we had like 1,000, 700,
We got
800,000.
good feedback on that.
I mean, for what we have in the town, that's pretty positive result.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were actually, I believe, mailed out.
They were,
So, which is a little expensive, but not drastic because we don't have that many mailboxes. But
So we'll just kinda go back.
Is another first step just get a rough idea of what it would take to do the reclassification, if we did it on our own.
Well, let's talk about that.
that's next on the agenda.
Okay.
Because I know before I came on board, Kai's
Mary Russell.
widow
Yeah, Mary Russell.
did something, but I don't think it was very effective as far as recodifying. I
Right.
think it was helpful, but
I think about 30 to 40 pages were cut out of that book, or maybe more, I'm not sure. It got thinner.
there's different versions
Yeah.
floating around, depending on
so.
which binder you pick up.
So in my mind, and I did a little bit of preliminary research, and the big boys and girls like the Barnes and Thornburgs and Bose McKinney folks, they'll do it, but they will also charge you out the wazoo on it. And there might be a few other smaller firms that I guess what I see is that we probably need to look at just reinventing what your zoning ordinances are, and you can do that as a part of what's calling recodifying. If you change this or change that, then you can just recodify that and readopt it. But you've got the American publishing folks that do it for smaller towns. That ain't gonna hack it for what we need done. I don't think they are up to the task of putting it online for you like that. So if you want, I mean, I can do some preliminary checking into, who does that. I've got a couple of names of smaller firms that, mostly out of Indianapolis, that might do it and at least get some ranges on costs. But it also takes town time and effort because you just can't say, okay, Kroger Gardis, you do this.
Redo it,
Yeah,
make it pretty.
yeah. And maybe with AI now, it's not, you AI whizzes might be able to come up with something that we can review, that the council can review and say, okay, here's what we'd like to see done. But, it really hasn't been recodified since the town was
Yeah, I mean,
formed.
Yeah, because there's, like,
Agreed.
Lafayette has a city code that they follow. They have all that stuff. And we don't really have, and then they follow area plan for their planning stuff. So they have their code and we have kind of a combination of code and planning in this thing. So, I mean, we probably could separate the two so that it's clear. You know, here's the code that we would follow, and then planning would be its own little, you know, whether there's ordinances or whatever for, whether it's zoning or subdivision or whatever, so that you kind of keep it more simplified.
Mhm. Well, and they, you know, whoever we end up talking to, they may say, planning committee probably might need to be re-envisioned,
Right.
how it works. And I'm not aware of anybody else that has a planning committee
Right.
like you guys do.
That's the thing that's been difficult for me is, you know, people want to do something and we get them here in front of a meeting. We don't even meet with them. So recently I've been meeting with them prior to this
Mhm.
so that they know the process as opposed, and that's what happens at area plan is you go down and meet with them and we meet with the staff and you go through all of it and you get it all done. And then you go to a commission and present in front of the commission where these people just come in and go, I don't know what to do. We're like, well, you got to do this, 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 and this. Come back in 30 days. And it's just it's not very helpful for the people that are doing it. And I'm saying that they've got a staff down there that does all that. So that was only thing I was thinking. I do it so much in my line of work that I know what the procedure is. And so, yeah. I think
Well, I can get you some,
you're gonna get some
maybe
quotes.
some ballparks from some folks and
And maybe some
Put in my
samples of what
back
they've
part-
done.
pardon me?
Or so maybe some customers and who they've done work for.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can kind of take a look at it.
It'd be better to have that information before we come to the council,
Yeah.
so somebody, they know what we're talking
Right.
about, how much money we're talking about.
probably ain't gonna be too cheap. So, you got a budget coming up here, right?
Probably sooner.
That
than
might
later.
be the selling point of why we
Plug it
joined
in.
the area plan too. I say, well, it
Right.
costs $500,000.
In my mind, I had 50,000 to budget. Do you think that's reasonable?
I think it would be, yes.
Okay, that's what I had in my mind.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
Downey will do it for half of that.
I was thinking it was gonna be like anywhere from 40 to 75 grand.
Well, if you go talk to the big boys and girls like Bose, and then you probably should budget more, but
Josh, you had some ideas on AI last time we talked about this.
Yeah, I don't know what the liabilities of a town doing that are though, like, I mean,
I mean, for a preliminary, here's what we got. Now, can somebody clean this up for us?
I mean, I think that you could feed all the minutes, because you paid someone to scan those in at one point, right? So we could feed all the minutes, and then in theory, it would tell us every zoning change that we've approved for the past 30 years. And that would help us get up to date on our map. That's what I was saying last month.
And that would just take hiring somebody part-time to go scan all that in.
Oh, it's
It's
already
already
done.
done.
Oh,
It's
I
done.
thought you said you had to do it.
No, it's already done.
Okay.
that's what Faust did when she was here, right? Did you
Um,
ever do some of that?
Cornbrook.
Okay.
Say something.
Yeah. Kelly did that, and we were purging records that went back from the beginning of the town.
Okay, so she scanned all that in, not just got rid of it, okay.
Well, the minutes you can't get rid of, but we scanned it all in, and most of it is going to be OCR searchable. Some of it's handwritten, which is a little harder.
It'll read the handwritten,
Yeah. Depends on how it was scanned.
how actually legible it is, yeah.
Well, I'll make some inquiries and at least have some information for July 7th, not July 14th.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
And then get some references and some things. So, oh, we did that for, XYZ town, and we can take a look at those.
And you, Tim, you have enough now information from area plan to tell the council, here's what we got to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So
I think so.
that's you got that pretty much done. So that would, maybe just present that information along with, if Sue has it in time, that information, and that's simple as that for now. And see if the council also, any other council members have thoughts about it. The town meetings or.
Essentially, you're joining APC, you would adopt their code with exceptions for Shadeland inside of the code.
For the planning side, yeah. Yeah, I think the town code is something that area plan wouldn't handle. I think we probably would still be looking at doing some sort of a codification of what we're doing.
Yeah, they would have to have that anyway. If we.
I mean, I think the town of Shadeland needs to look at that anyway. And maybe we can just edit what we've got, like you said, just look at those things and say, okay, can we live with this for our code? And then from a planning standpoint, use the area plan stuff. So yeah, we just have to.
I'll try to get something put together on the couple quotes.
Okay, next on the agenda is any questions or from the committee?
Do we have old business, the site work on Shadeland Road?
So
Is that something, Char was gonna research something?
he's looking into, we actually did some survey work for him to find his property lines. He is trying to look into buying additional ground so he can expand his septic system. Because the septic system in that facility is probably a residential system.
Probably a 5-gallon drum.
And so what we told him is, he's gonna need more property to put a septic system in, commercial septic system. And so he's been talking to the owners of Finley's, that area, because, and there's potential they could buy a pretty big chunk of that.
Okay, so that's.
Right, the zoning's correct for them to go there.
Okay.
That is correct.
I just saw
That
that
was
open
done.
item last meeting. I didn't
Yeah.
know the meeting.
There was the minutes were clear that it did get rezoned to allow that use in there. And, so,
Wasn't
yeah.
there tree requirements or something like that?
There's a buffer yard that we'd have to do, so there's a lot of stuff they have to do still to make it. I guess what he was wanting to do is maybe do a new building with some possible 3 uses in there, like different subcontractors or whatever using the space. And I said, well, you're gonna need a commercial septic for that, and then you'd have to follow the buffer yard requirements that were set aside as part of the zoning requirements. So, yeah. Yeah, that was good, the minutes, we found all that, so.
I think the buffer yard was originally gonna be like trees, and they ended up building a mound, but I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I don't know that it was real clear, it just had to be a buffer yard. But I think they put the mound in where they could put a septic system, and now they can't put a septic system. So, yeah. Fun stuff.
Why was I thinking of one of our prior meetings, there was somebody out here who expressed an interest and had some background and wanted to be on,
Yeah, somebody did.
I'm looking back through my notes, I'm not finding
Who it was now.
On the Finley property?
No, to
Be
be
on the committee.
on the committee.
And they had some kind of technical background too, I thought.
Steve Tobias wanted to be, but he's on council, so
Right.
Is that who it was?
a while back.
I know,
Yeah,
that
might be.
one, a while back.
Okay.
See,
All right, I'm kind of
You
melding
you went
things together.
to the 18, not the 18.
All right, never mind.
All right. Any other questions from anybody? No, we can adjourn.
Second that. You just call for adjournment. Don't have to vote on
Don't
that.
say anything obscene yet if you're still online.
Anybody on?
Don't defame anybody yet.
One's a thousand. One's a No, we've not seen that. One's a mini.